Hello, welcome back to another episode of Girl Boss Bible. My name's Katy, and this is the podcast for girls with goals. We here at Girl Boss Bible, GBB, basically trying to help young women navigate adulthood, navigate life, careers, and we do it by, discussing different topics of conversations with people and also sharing my perspective as someone who has had to learn everything the hard way, to be honest. No rule book, and I'm just trying to make one and let everybody understand, or even let everybody learn before they make the same mistakes that I did. So today first of all, apologies because I've been slacking on the episodes lately. So what I will do is I'm going to try and release one every 2 weeks, just so I can try and stay a bit more consistent with it. Weekly was a bit heavy, so I have been really, really busy at work, which is kind of the reason I have decided to do today's topic. Today, I really want to talk about one of the hardest things about work, which is also my favourite thing about work. That's people. And I just think working with different personalities, different cultures, it can be really, really difficult at times. And it means that you really need to lock in and adapt, I suppose, to all different personality types. Now, I have moved around the world a little bit, and I feel like because of that, I've been very blessed to be able to understand certain cultures. Coming to Australia, however, was still another shock to the system, even though they're English speaking. And you'd think culturally it's similar. There are differences. And there's personality types and things that I had to learn and understand. However, last week I was absolutely blessed to be in Kuala Lumpur with work. And I do some travel throughout the year with different areas of Asia, and I feel like it's just been a part of the world that I've never worked with before. And being part of a business that's global, I can't tell you how much my eyes are just totally opened, like A, to the places that I'm going, and B, to the people and how they function, how they work. It's just crazy. And I'm absolutely obsessed with Asia. I've been to Hong Kong and Kuala Lumpur now. I've got some more trips coming up, and the people, I've met people from all over, from Korea, from Singapore. I've been to Singapore as well, from Malaysia. We have Japanese. So and speaking with them all is just been absolutely incredible. And what amazing people that I work with. So I just wanted to have a chat, because there's still sometimes mistakes that I made, and culturally things can be quite different, but also you're going to have just a mix of personality types in general. And the way the world's going, we're going to get more and more sort of, more and more globalization. People will be working cross-culturally. And it's really important that we are all understanding of each other's different cultures, and we're also understanding of people's personality types and how they receive information, how they receive communication, and vice versa, how you receive it as well. So something that I used to do a lot was, I'm actually quite a sensitive soul. So I read into every single email like it's going out of fashion. And I would sit there and analyze it. I think someone's really pissed off with me and they're not. That's just a classic example, which I struggled with a lot here, because they're a lot blunter here in Australia than the UK. My emails maybe probably come across a bit too over the top. I'm like, hi, kind regards, thank you. See regards regularly, and that to me is, I've got the right ump. So I think it's just, it's changed a lot of my perspective on how I handle myself. I used to let things bother me a lot more, and really it's understanding actually it's not me, and it's not them either. They're not actually doing anything bad. They've just got a different way of being and way of working, which isn't a personal thing, But I guess nobody actually really teaches you this unless you study like a language or something. Like, I spent a lot of time in Europe as well, so I know I think I quite understand European culture pretty well. But this side of the world has been a completely different thing. But like I say, in any workplace, you're going to have different personalities. Nobody's the same, and that's why it's great, and that's why it works. You want people with different opinions. But I would say, the hardest part of work isn't actually the work. It is dealing with the people. And in leadership as well, that just gets like, I don't know, magnified by a million. So I think if we talk about having sort of like, I just want to talk about like different styles of communications to start with. So someone having different communication to you doesn't necessarily mean they have bad communication. And that was something that I initially was thinking that, oh my God, these people are so poor at communicating, when actually there's been times where I've been poor at communicating because I've just done it my way. I've not thought about the person who is receiving what I'm saying. And it's quite funny because this is a classic example. I used to put loads of smiley faces and exclamation marks on my emails, right? And I used to do that because, especially, I'd be over egging it. I'm thinking, right, I want to make this sound really like super friendly. Hopefully, like they'll know. And here I've sent that, and people think I'm being sarcastic, and like the smiley face is a bit like yeah, cheers kind of situation, and people are taking it in a really bad way. So I'm like, whoa, that's really not. I'm literally saying it exactly how I would speak. Like, hi, hope you're well. How are you? So I think what the email tone is a huge thing, and that happens cross culturally. Who's copied in is a completely different set of rules as well. Like, for example, in Europe, if we were to copy in a manager to an email, so I'd copy someone as manager in, that would seen as like an escalation, and we would seem like I'd think, well, you're just a grass, basically. Like, why are you copying my manager in? But in Asia, it's a sign of respect. Like that was also like a bit of an eye opener for me, because some of the Asian colleagues do that all the time, and you think, sorry, are you why are you grassing on me for? What have I done wrong? But that's not the case. So just think about that, especially like even in the UK or even here, you're gonna work with people from different cultures in the actual office as well. So yeah. Another thing that's really hard for me to deal with is direct versus indirect communication. And something I do always is clarify my instructions, as in the ones that I'm receiving, because a lot of people, different personality types, like I'm super direct and I'm very, very fast at saying what I want to say. So I'm just say it. I don't give mass amounts of explanation. I'll just go X, Y, Z, da, da, da. Clear. Yeah. Sweet. But sometimes I've been given direction where it's, a big explanation, lots of words, which I struggle to process. And then, within that, there is a direction and there is, a request. There is what's it called? Instruction. There is an instruction in there. So it'd just be a case of that. I will go, right, can I just clarify this is exactly what you want me to do? I feel like it's just so necessary, because I just so don't understand things sometimes. I just don't process what people are telling to me. So at the end of everything, always summarize. If say, for example, if your manager's giving you some instructions, summarize what they've said and just say, and you want this outcome from me. And then they'll either say yes or no. Just make sure you've got the direction and the instruction clear, because it can be, that happens quite a lot. And a lot of people will do this and I do it, where you think that they are mind readers and they know exactly what you're talking about and they know where you're coming from. So yeah, I think it's navigating sort of direct versus indirect communication is really difficult. And also, I really, really, really encourage people to get on the phones. Like, this is very millennial of me, but the Gen Zs do not like the phone. And it causes murders. It just causes dramas. Like, please, if you need to speak to a colleague and there's like, you can ring them. Like, first of all, you'll develop a relationship with them. And second of all, nothing can get like taken funny. Like, for example, that example of me putting smiley faces on my emails, they're going to receive a friendly communication from me via the phone. They're going to hear it in my tone of voice and they're going to speak to me. It's going to be received really well. If they think I'm being sarcastic and cocky by putting exclamation marks and smiley faces on, then it's actually going to get received really badly and I'm not going to get the outcome that I want. So picking up the phone's always great. And yeah, I also think it's quicker. It's like, fast paced. So I really encourage it as much as possible. I hate that the phone use is dwindling. I hate it. So yeah, pick up the phone and start dialing. In the words of Belfort. And then on a similar sort of note to that, this is quite a shocking thing to say. It's not shocking. Oh my God. This is quite a mad thing to say though. is don't treat everyone the same. Treat everyone with the same fairness, with the same kindness, with the same empathy, all of that, of course. But don't treat everyone the same in the way you communicate to them. You're going to have people who are quieter. You're going to have people who are confident. You're going to have people who love working autonomously and just love being left alone, or people that need constant reassurance, constant recognition, constant motivation. There's a mix, yeah. I personally am someone that I need reassurance 24/7. If I don't get a lot of feedback, I get stressed. I like working independently, but I also need to know that I've done a good job. Otherwise, I'll get panicky. And I'm very confident. I'm not a quieter person in the office. It means that, like, say as a leader, for example, I need to make sure that the quieter people are not getting overlooked. That I'm also not forcing them out of their personalities too much in meeting situations and things like that. And I also need to make sure I'm navigating the more confident speakers to not be also taking all of the time. So, and I know this is more for leadership, but if you're in a role, first off, if you're ambitious and you're in a role, I would definitely be practicing leadership skills from day one. And being a good leader means being really adaptive. So you have to be able to change the way you lead different kinds of people. And like I said, it's the same, even if you're just in a team, you need people to do things for you. If you can understand how to adapt your communication style to each of the people, you can have them all working very nicely for you. And then also you'll just end up sort of building sort of like a leadership energy that then becomes your future and gives you more potential within the role. So like I say, people always need different things. The best way to do this, like I say, you get to know people always. Make sure you take the time. So treat people the same, like I said. Make sure you're taking enough time to speak with people, bond with people, understand them, and don't think everyone's the same as you, which is my worst mistake. I think, why can't people do this? Why are people not doing that? You have to understand people work in different ways. People organize themselves in different ways. The brains work differently. Like for me, the worst leaders, the worst managers will treat everybody the same. And that's the problem, because it's not a one mold fits all. It is everybody has their own individual needs and their own individual ways of learning and ways of being confident. So yeah, just bear that in mind. Everyone is in need of different things. Don't treat everybody the same, but treat everyone equally. And good leadership is being able to adapt. Being able to be agile is unbelievably beneficial, and that comes in really, really handy. It also comes in really, really handy for, like, for example, I had to learn that going into uni and stuff, like, because you come across, culturally people are different, but even in sort of like a class system, very, very different topics of conversations, very different ways of how people can make you feel and how you can make other people feel. So again, just bear that in mind. But yeah. Next on the list, I just also want to discuss about, like, assuming, okay, which is the classic phrase, if you assume, you make an ass of you and me. Why do I do an American accent when I do like a phrase or something? I don't know, maybe I'm just born to be American. Yeah, so there's that classic phrase, and it's so true, because if you have sort of like unspoken expectations of somebody, it's going to create resentment. And it's going to create resentment vice versa. So like I said before about making sure you clarify what it is that somebody's wanting you to do, it benefits both parties, because if they have got in their brain this expectation of what's going to happen from your side, and you don't deliver on that because you've not understood what's been communicated to you, then you're going to be in the right mess, yeah? And they're going to get resentment. They're going to start getting peed off about it all. And same vice versa. Like, again, I assume everyone's like me. I assume everybody is quick, is super excited about a certain topic sometimes, and it just falls on deaf ears. And I think, why are you all not so excited about this? And I think, well, actually, you've either not explained it correctly, so they've not bought into it, or you've not explained why it benefits them or why it benefits the business. So yeah, making sure all the expectations are communicated properly. And the why goes a long way. So making you sure why you explain why you've made a certain decision or why you've done it a certain way. So yeah, on that note as well, on why, something I want to talk about that I've come across a lot is the word why. And this is, I hate it. I hate the word why. So like when I'm talking about it, when I say then like make sure you explain your why, that's fine, because you'll say, hi, please, I've decided that we're going to do this project. It's going to bring in, I don't know, X amount of revenue. It's going to support X amount of customers, whatever. That why is you explaining the reasoning behind a decision making or an action or whatever. And it gets people to buy into what you're wanting them to do, which is great. However, if you ask someone why, I don't know, I just find it I find it really, really direct. I find it really aggressive. I find it like you're questioning somebody. And I really don't like the word why at work. And I use it. So being a hypocrite here, but like, like when someone goes, I've done this. Why? Why did you do that? Why did you do it like that? It's instantly going to have a wall up from the receiver when you speak to them with the word why. Even just changing it to a how come, I don't think it's, I still think that's a bit, can be still a little bit creating that sort of feeling. But you could just go, what was what made you decide what made you decide you wanted to go there? Why did you go there? You see, it's just different. Like it just lands a little bit softer. Obviously, you might want to find out why someone's done that. Classic is, why is that not done? Why have you not done that? I mean, how direct and aggressive is that? Like, instead of like, oh, why have you done it this way? Instead, are you struggling to complete that? Do you need any help with that? Etc. I just think it's just a lot nicer. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like I've just literally just gone into ChatGPT here, like different ways of saying why. Can you help me understand the thinking behind that? What's the reasoning for that approach? This is so corporate. How did we land on that decision? What's driving that choice? That's disgusting. What is driving that choice? Can I understand the context behind that? What informed that decision? That is really funny. That is actually making me piss. It's so corporate, darlings. What's the goal behind this? What's the goal behind this is a great question. And that could be used similarly before. How does it fit into the bigger picture? What's the priority we're optimizing for? I mean, I'd never say any of these. This one, challenging respectfully, like this is great because this is quite hard. Have we considered any alternative approaches? Have we considered another approach? How are we weighing up the options? How is a bit at the same time? Oh, if I was to say, why isn't... Let's have a look at this one, see what it says. What's the status on this? Do you have an update on how's this tracking? No, that's because we're in Australia. Nobody say that, ever. Is there anything outstanding on this? Is there anything blocking from this moving forward? What's the revised ETA? Instead of why isn't this done, try, I expected this to be done by now. Can you help me understand what's outstanding? Just checking in. What's preventing this from being finalised? But like even this has just said, these tend to land much better in workplace dynamics, but especially across different personalities and cultures. Yeah, you see, because it's just a bit mad because, like you say, you're simply asking a question that you think so innocent, so fine. Like, oh, why is that not done? But I've seen it then. When someone writes it to you on Teams, you think, why is it not done? Who are you asking me? Why? So yeah, it just creates tension. It creates problems. And I just, hate the word why. But always explain your why. And don't always assume that people do understand what you said either. People always say in leadership, like in leadership coaching, don't say, do you know what I mean? And I say it all the time. I say it way too much. And apparently you're not meant to say it because it makes you basically sound like you're not confident in the way you've just explained something. So if you go, does that make sense? Don't say that. Don't say that. Because it just kind of diminishes the value of what you've been saying, and it kind of diminishes your power in that you know what you're talking about and that you have the ability to explain something. It can actually also, if you say, does that make sense? It can also sometimes come across as a bit patronising. Again, might be received by somebody else a little bit differently. So they might think, oh, God. Yeah, you can always just say, what are your thoughts? Instead of, does that make sense? What are your thoughts on that? And because also, again, you're opening up that dialogue, because if they just take that, you assume that they understand and it's clear. It's not, might not be. So if you go, what are your thoughts? Then again, opens up that dialogue. Then you'll start talking about whatever project or whatever instruction or whatever direction you've given them. And then they will, you'll be able to understand if they've understood. That was a lot of words. But yeah, all of this sort of stuff is what leads to most problems in the business, and what leads to the dynamics being a little bit off and having problems within your teams, things like that. That's where sort of resentment comes from. Look, relationships really matter in work. I've talked about this loads. I've talked about networking, which is so, so crucial. This is different. This is working with people. And for me, the most valuable thing that you can do as a person is be someone who's easy to work with. If you're easy to work with, you will go far. And that doesn't mean being a pushover. That doesn't mean bowing down to people and just cracking on and not challenging things. Of course, challenge things, give your opinion. But if you're someone who's easy to work with, and you're someone who brightens up someone's work day, you walk in, people aren't scared to come and ask you a question, people aren't scared to approach you, you're going to go far. Being trusted by everyone in your team will carry you through so, so much. People work with people they trust. People work for people they trust. And it really, really matters. And it's through building those relationships. It's through understanding different communication styles. It's through reaching out via the phone instead of sending a shirty email, having that hard conversation face to face instead of drafting it up on Teams. Those things matter, and those things make such a difference, and it will put you at the forefront of everything when you're looking to move on up the chain. And it's a weird one, because obviously different cultures build trust differently, and then there's a whole layer of like respect. Absolutely unbelievable. I was chatting to some of the team members from the Japan office, and it's like obviously well known that Japanese culture is very, very, very respectful. And I was asking so many questions about it because I just find it so cool. Like, for example, they even like put san at the end of the name, which means like Mr. or Mrs., but they say at the end of the name, which you might know. This is going to sound so awful, from Karate Kid, because he calls him Daniel-san. But yeah, it's but that does happen. I've seen it interact with my own eyes, that the employees speak to the boss with san at the end of their name. So it's just really cool. And things like that, so that those levels of respect to there, they would always give up. I saw them giving up the chair for the boss as soon as he walked in the room, like completely different vibes. And I feel like I scare them a lot, because me and my manager, my boss, get on really, really well. We're very jokey with each other, actually give each other banter and stuff like that. So it can be, yeah, I probably look a little bit disrespectful at times, which I'm not. And obviously my boss knows I'm not. That's us having a really strong relationship. But yeah, it's a bit crazy. But it's just bear in mind that respect. Always treat people with the highest level of respect, because you don't know what their respect levels are until you've built a strong relationship with someone. You know how far you can go with banter. Their sort of sense of humour. If they're going to be a pal that you might want to see for work after drinks, or are they going to be a colleague? That's when you need to make sure you don't cross a line with levels of respect. And again, respect can take you so far, so far. Yeah, respect can just carry you. It can take you so far. Like when people feel respected, they will work better. And that is the bottom line of it. If they feel like they're being listened to, if they feel like being valued and they're being treated fairly, they're going to come with their ideas, they're going to ask questions, they're going to admit mistakes, they want to collaborate. In general, they're going to put a bit more effort in. I just think it's, when you feel disrespected, you're so demotivated, you're so disengaged, you don't want to be there. So respect will again carry you quite far if you treat people with a lot of respect. And it's that attacking thing. It's like when you change your delivery, questioning someone like that, going, why have you not done that? It's not very respectful. If you say, oh, how come, or where are you up to with that? Do you need any help? It's a lot more respectful. Are you struggling? Maybe not, you're struggling. That's a bit patronising. Yeah, and you're going to then, generally, you're going to build a lot of trust. You're going to get a really strong reputation. And it just makes you come across it's just the height of being professional, right? And being easy to work with. And that's having a lot of respect for people. And yeah, if you're coming across different cultures, value different things, different people value different things. So having respect for their boundaries as well is a big thing. So some people might not quite like to be, criticized or challenged in public. And it would be a case of, I would always go to somebody one-on-one if I need to challenge them on something. But you can always ask them in that conversation, would you have minded if I'd have brought this up then? Are you happy that I deal with this situation one-to-one? Ask people. And they will come through, but you don't need to be a mega confident person. You just got to be someone who treats people with respect. As that will really help you grow. And on that note, building relationships where you have got a rapport with someone. Like I said, you need to obviously don't cross any respect boundaries until you understand who that person is, until you build up the rapport. Can you have banter? I mean, I used to have a mate. He's still my friend. We love him. Who I used to to throw water out in the office, and I used to just like hit him, which sounds so awful. But he was more like a bit of a much older brother to me. I'm just trying to wind up here. But that is like the level of banter I can have. But then I wouldn't have that with a couple of other people throughout, because it's going to be disrespectful to them. They're not going to find that funny, and I've not got that rapport with them. And then the last thing is being curious. And I am so curious. I cannot even tell you. When I walk around these amazing cities with all these beautiful people, I keep saying this to everyone, my eyes are wide open. I am just taking everything in. So just be super curious, open-minded to learning about everybody's different cultures, everybody's different personalities. Just have your eyes and ears wide open all the time. Be a sponge and soak it all in. Learn about it. The more you learn about it and educate yourself, people will respect you for it because you've taken the time out to understand them. And you will grow so much as a person, because you might learn something that you think, actually, I want to be that person. I want to be like that. You might learn a personality trait that you think is beneficial to you, that you might want to start to work on. For example, I'm working on being a lot calmer and composed. That is something I really need to work on. So I will model myself and look at people who behave that way and copy things that they do. And I'm trying to learn from other people's personalities types. And just having that curiosity shows a willingness to learn. Again, another amazing skill to develop for business and for career. I really, really encourage you all to learn as much as you possibly can and continue to learn. And like I say, it's all about being adaptable. If you're curious rather than judgmental, your whole world will open up. Your whole mind will open up. It's absolutely unbelievable, the world out there and the people out there. It's crazy. What else have I got on here? Observe before assuming. So we've talked about not assuming what you understand of people. Don't assume people's personality types. Get to know them. Observe them. Understand how they move and how they act, because that, again, big deal. And the last thing I've got on here is empathy matters. Empathy is my biggest strength. And you know that. I got this job And I'm confident I got this job because of my empathy skills. Now, does that mean I'm completely empathetic all the time to everybody? No. Does that mean I know when to exercise empathy? I think I do. I think you've got to realize people have lives. People have lives outside of work. People have a lot going on. And I know what I go through. That sounds like I go through loads at the minute. I'm not. But, I know what happens behind closed doors for me. It might be an argument with your family. It might be money problems. It might be friendships. You don't know. You don't know what goes on behind people's doors. People might be stressed out with the kids. Or everyone has different lives to you. And everyone leaves work and faces something completely different. And you might never, ever know what people go home to. And I think you just need to make sure that you're empathetic, you're kind to people, and you listen and hear them out all the time. If something's not been done, if something's been done wrong, if they're moody. Look, there's people out there that are moody 24/7 and they're just dicks, to be honest. So that's a separate situation. But you also have people out there who, maybe might be moody 50% of the time. And rather than being judgmental, I would just be thinking there's something going on. And I would exercise and treat them fairly, and I would treat them maybe a little bit softer. However you feel like you want to deal with someone like that, don't pass judgment. Passing judgment's the worst thing, especially in the workplace. You see work people as work people. That's it. You don't know what they're like on a real life scale, even though you're with them 24/7. Work is a workplace is 50% of the people show up 100% themselves, and that is how I show up. But the other 50% don't, and that is also absolutely fine. If they want to be a more private person, it's absolutely fine. There's no requirement for those people to be like that. I just can't physically be anybody other than me, and I tell everyone all my business all the time. So yeah, welcome to my podcast. Just a summary. I think the first thing I want to say is people skills. And this is, like I said, this is separate to networking, because this is making yourselves curious and aware of what's going on around you and the people that might be around you and the personality types. Networking is you're doing that for your own personal gain. You're doing that, not always, but you're doing it to climb a ladder. You're doing it to expand your network, to know people, to get given opportunities. That's why you network. The reason you need to learn about other personalities and cultures is so that you're easy to work with. It is a huge, huge career skill to have strong people skills. Try your best to learn people. And this is why travel is so important. I know not everyone is blessed to be able to do that. But we talked about this. I talked about this before with the way I've got a mate at the minute who's panicking because she's struggling to get a proper job here, but she's moved all the way across the world. She's mingling with different cultures. She's making new friends. She's setting up a new life. Like there's all these skills you don't teach in an office, but will carry you through a career. So socializing, traveling, all of that goes such a long way. Being curious about different cultures. Have a look on TikTok. I mean, all you have to do is have a look. Type in all the different cultures and get to know them and understand them, have that curiosity behind you. And I'm curious to know if anybody else has got any stories or lessons, or has anyone got, if you've got any funny stories about where you've maybe done something wrong, dealt with the wrong personality in the wrong way, or done something bad culturally. Something that I did recently, this was quite a funny story. Well, it's not funny. I called myself a basic bitch in front of my Asian colleagues. Apparently that's really offensive. The word bitch is taken quite shockingly. Obviously, I was saying it as I wasn't even calling it myself. I was saying I'm a basic bitch, but yeah, things like that. Do a bit of research because I was mortified. Not great. Didn't go down so well. But yeah, I'd love to hear some things from you. Before we wrap up, I'm going to do boss move of the week, and first of all, I'm gonna do mine. I've got loads, to be honest. I feel pretty content with life. Obviously, I went on that amazing trip last week with work. And that to me is just their career highlights to me, where I'm socializing, I'm learning, I'm doing workshops. Unbelievable. And I'm traveling. So it's great. And I'm super proud of myself for being able to put myself in a position that I get that. I spoke about it on my stories on Instagram, but yeah, I've just joined this new gym, which is this studio. Do we like it? Where I filmed with Mum a couple of weeks ago. It's a little bit expensive, so it is a treat to myself. However, I have not exercised for almost a year. I'm really loving it. I've been a member now for 3 weeks. I have been every day ish, pretty much. And if it's not for exercise, which I'm doing 4 times a week, I'm here for the wellness, which has got like a pool, a cold pool, infrared saunas, it's got the red light therapy for your face, compression boots. So yeah, I really take advantage of that side of things. I also love I love this gym. And I just had a facial today. Looked after myself. I'm going to do a bit of wellness. I'm going to do a run on the treadmill. Yeah, just had a little facial. Come on with no makeup on because I just had it done. So if you think I look like a scruff, great. If you think the facial's good, even better. But yes, let's have a look at what we've got from the audience because we had a few come in. First up, I just want to do a big boy shout out to a very special girl called Olive Roscoe. She did a speech at school. So it says, did a speech at school. Did a school captain's speech, even though I've got mad anxiety, and absolutely smashed it. And I can confirm she smashed it because I have seen that myself. We've got another one here, negotiating a contract over the finish line. Now, I actually would love to discuss negotiation skills because that is something I am lacking. So I actually might reach out to this girl and see what she did. Maybe she might want to join us on the pod because negotiating is something I'm not very good at. I have to bring my boss in to negotiate for the office move. I did everything, but other than the negotiation. I am good at negotiating at market when it comes to snide handbags, like I was in Malaysia last week. However, that's about my limit when it comes to actual business negotiation. I really could do with a bit of advice. So yeah, I'll look at that. Another one here, got a new job after having a mental breakdown for the last 6 weeks. Yes, can confirm this one was true. This is my girl, Alex. She's just moved to Sydney. She was on the pod, actually, where we did the Australia one. And she did say she wanted to live in Sydney. And now she's kind of manifested that too much into reality. And she's left of all. So that's sad. Another one. So let me try and get this right. Trusted in my instincts, went for home loan refinance to get cheaper interest rates and payments. And that went through really easy. And it allowed this girl to start self-employment very, very soon, next month. In fact, felt like the universe had my back. So thank you so much to all of those boss moves of the week. That is lovely to see. Really nice collection there. It's great at the moment. Work's going really, really well. Even Frederico's doing really, really well at work. He's the boy boss. That made me feel sick. Yeah, he's doing well. Let's just leave it at that. But yeah, I think, yeah, it's interesting. And I love people. I really enjoy managing people and I really enjoy leading people. But it's really, really difficult. And I've had to learn a lot. And I've still got so much to learn. If anyone's interested in this topic or even has anything to say on this topic, please reach out. If you have enjoyed this, please hit subscribe on Spotify or wherever you listen, or even if it's on YouTube, hit that button for me. And liking and commenting and all those sort of things really helps us grow. And please share this podcast with anyone that you think it will help. I am really, really set on trying to grow it and I'm reaching out to different people. I'm going to some networking events when I'm in Manchester. I am, networking. There you go. I am really passionate about trying to get a friendly, soft message across to young women and help because it's just a struggle. But yeah, please reach out on socials. If you've enjoyed this episode, if you've got anything you want to add, have you had any funny moments? And yeah, have a fabulous week. I hope everyone has had a blessed weekend and speak to you all soon. Bye.